The next session is the most anticipated one, I think, of every horizon, and I think I've been to virtually every horizon except I missed out on Bali somehow. That wasn't too bright. But everyone wants to hear from our founder, CEO, and visionary, Atish. Atish spearheads the vision and strategy for the organization. It's been more than 2 decades since he first laid the foundation for Zycus, and under his dynamic leadership, Zycus has established its footprint globally as a leading provider of AI-led source-to-pay solutions. So I'd like to welcome Atish to the stage to share the central theme of the event, 10x source-to-pay with GenAI, time to level up.
Hey, thanks, and great to be back on stage after so many years, and good to see everyone. Let's have a speed networking session on each of your tables. I'll just pick up any table, have a representative talk about, is GenAI overhyped?
The consensus on this table was GenAI in the short term is probably overhyped, but in the long term is absolutely underhyped. The scope it has that it can deliver in the long term is unbelievable. It's now, are people ready to accept it? I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle.
Okay. Now, let me talk about what is Zycus's view on GenAI and what is our roadmap for GenAI. We think, as Kishore mentioned, GenAI is underhyped over there. I think people are kind of really underestimating over the effect it'll have, and I think the effect will not be comparable to one of the things which you saw on the previous screen, but it was outside the date range, and that's a century back when you had the steam engine and the electric motive power, correct? So that totally transformed industry, agriculture, transportation, and what the machine did to muscles, GenAI is going to do to the brain, correct? So that's why it's 10x. 10x is not going to happen overnight. It'll take 20 years to for it to happen, but possibly 60, maybe even 80% of the work which is done by what is so-called knowledge workers over there would be done with GenAI, correct? And now, why Zycus for AI? You would hear AI everywhere in the news. All of our competitors are talking, about AI, correct? It's a bandwagon effect over there, correct? And the first reason is Zycus believes in AI, correct? So when you had, for example, the mobile phone, correct, coming out, people talked about mobile procurement, correct? We jumped onto the bandwagon. We never really believed in it over there, correct? Which is why our mobile app was a half-hearted, effort over there. But internet is something we believed, which is why we started Zycus. And GenAI, we are passionate about it. Not just GenAI, AI in general. GenAI is just one manifestation of AI. GenAI you're hearing now, but 2018 is when we started with AI, and the reason we did it is the roots of the current GenAI revolution is in 2012. That's where Google acquired a company called as DeepMind, out of UK, run by some professors, I think from Cambridge or Oxford, and that deep learning changed everything over there, correct? And from 2018-19 we started building on deep learning Merlin AI products, and these are Merlin AI products for multiple parts of the business process. And now, obviously GenAI is the next, it's huge leap over there, correct? It kind of has taken AI to things what it could not do earlier over there. So, obviously we're now incorporating, GenAI across the entire Merlin AI suite. We are always focused on innovation. 50% of our organization is in R&D, but more importantly, and Mickey talked about how AI talent is scarce. It's very difficult to hire. From 2018-19, we invested significantly on AI, and around up to 150 people of a team are working on the Merlin AI suite. The fuel for AI is data. You need good curated data, correct? GenAI can just work off internet data, but you need other data over there if you want to really, anchor it over there. So what we've done over the years is, build a, deep curated data set for different use cases. AI Council, many years back, and we're having regular sessions. Don is part of it. Bob from News Corp is part of it. Kishore is part of it over there. And what they give us is really input in terms of what are the AI use cases will be useful for procurement. we had almost 8 years back a revamp of our UI Dewdrops. We called it Dewdrops, the new UI. Along with that, we also created a platform for creating apps. There are a lot of APIs, micro-grain APIs as we call it, which are pulled out from the product. And then we built a platform for creating composable apps. So you could create apps on the platform. Now these apps can be, vertical specific. For example, we have, a few apps for direct materials. It could be even specific to a company. But it also helps in creating apps for GenAI and embedding in the product fast. Otherwise, if you really have to take time to go inside the product and add a lot of GenAI, it can take a lot of time. So as an example, in the current Maple release, there are almost around 15 plus, GenAI apps, which we have released. Now we want to look at what is, the roadmap and vision, and I think a lot of it kind of mirrors the users of procurement software. I would kind of segment it into two groups. One, you have the business users, which are your, stakeholders, your customers, and the second is, the procurement team. So for the first one, which is our business users, AI is the new UI, correct? I think especially in cases where, if you look at the number of users, correct, I think Delta decided to roll it out to the entire organization. Even if it is a subset like Heineken or Broadridge, it's tens of thousands of users who are going to interact with the software, correct? And they're not procurement people who are going to be trained on using it. So these are, occasional users, casual users. Business user will start a conversation. What do you want to do today, correct? And then it'll take the business user through the entire journey. Business users, you want to make sure that first of all it is conversational, correct? So you really want to intake management, correct? We started that with iRequest, but that's more like a mini service now, product, correct? Very old-fashioned the way to do it. But with Gen AI, I think you can get to the holy grail of procurement, which has been talked for almost a couple of decades, which is guided procurement, correct? In Merlin Assist, Merlin Assist is our Gen AI based tool for business users. What it will do is you can upload your policies, you could upload your best practices, correct? Gen AI will read all of that, and then we test it out, make sure that the users are then guided to the right path. So the entire application, Merlin Assist, is built on Microsoft Teams. And our goal, we are there maybe 60-70% now, is that a business user never goes to the web UI, correct? Everything happens over there in the conversational UI. And this is just the first step. Over the next few years, when people say, where is going to be the 10x productivity, it's going to come from, a lot of the use cases. So these are a lot of the Gen AI use cases, and we have a Gen AI experience center here for power users. But initially, we want to focus on business users because, that's where you have a huge number of users. Always customers had. Whenever we talked about AI, is AI data security, correct? We are the first vendor, but even among the software vendors, we are one of the few vendors who are partnered with Microsoft, correct? So, we have a collaboration with Microsoft, which gives us access, early access to a lot of Gen AI stuff, as well as, work with them on data security. So we have a very comprehensive process for privacy and security. So none of the prompts, none of your curated data set, nothing ever will get to someone on ChatGPT, correct? So nothing goes into the LLM. So when we talk about Gen AI outside, obviously we want to also use it internally, and we have been adopting it since the last 1 year. Integration. So the suppliers are also, occasional users. So we're creating a supplier help, Gen AI bot over there where they could interact with the bot. And again, when we benchmarked it, it is equivalent to our best support people. Do we think, there would be change within procurement? And I know many would not agree on this, correct? There's a lot of political push and pull on this. But just the way we saw in 2018 over there that AI could become big, sooner or later, sustainability will become huge, and it would have a huge impact. So we have created a complete suite of 3 products. There's Carbon Analyzer, for understanding your carbon, emissions. Then there's a ESG Goal Navigator, for aligning, the entire organization's goals and trickling them down both internally as well as to your suppliers. And third is, a green supply network, correct, where you could really, start building, information about your suppliers. So lighthouse, that's what it's a lighthouse, a beacon, for your journey into ESG. That's what we are calling it. And we already have a couple of customers. So now, I'd just like to close. But before that, just want to share a brief clip, from a customer, Heineken. They couldn't come in. We have a representative for Heineken. Thank you.